Hello there and welcome to your ultimate current affairs talk show on television and radio. Politics Today, reaching you on independent television and radio. It's good to be back with you on the show after some weeks and some days on vacation. But I hope you had a great time with my colleagues who had brief while I was on vacation. Today on the show, we will continue with our conversations on our countdown to Edo 2024 governorship election. Less than 24 hours, INEC is insisting that of the 18 political parties that conducted their primaries, about 8 of them are yet to fill in their nomination, fill the nomination portal with their candidates. And we hope that within the next few hours, such political parties would have done that, so we'll have a clear picture of who is participating in the 2024 Edo State governorship election bid for the 21st of September. But as is always the case, in line with the spirit of democracy, we can have as many political parties as possible, but just very few really would make the desired impact as far as the election is concerned. And we already have that in place. But today on the show, our major focus will be on agenda setting and Edo 2024 with a special review of the candidates, pedigrees and impact, and of course the political parties, INEC, security agencies and other stakeholders, just for us to have a very successful election. In today's program, I have 2 veterans in the house who will be giving us insight into this conversation. But as usual, our studio line will be open, so you can also call and be part of the conversation. And when you do call, please try as much as possible to be civil in your language and be as brief as possible so that others waiting on the line can take their turns. Let me welcome very specially a veteran journalist, is also a publisher, former commissioner in Edo State, a political activist, Honorable Orobosa Omojo. Many thanks for joining us on the program.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
We also have with us another veteran journalist and lawyer, Barrister Jefferson Wohia. Many thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Okay, let's get started. Let me begin with you, Orobosa Omojo. Moments like this gives us the opportunity to look at where we are coming from as a state politically, where we are and where we are going, against the background that moments like this will also present things that have happened before. From being there as a journalist, as a publisher, and then as a politician, following all of these events over the years, what's very unique and different about the 2024 Edo State governorship election from your perspective?
Good morning, viewers. And Sonny, I called the season we have a transitional season, as it was in 2007. The same agitation, very close to it then. Agitation for development, for good leadership, for cultural interest, everything. So right now, they are equally at play. And the same dynamism we had then, where the people that play themselves up to ask for votes from Edo people were basically people that strode in to come and ask for our votes. That same dynamism that we experienced, that I played a very vital role. Remember then I was a director of media and strategy to Comrade Adams Aliyu Oshomole campaign organization. So I always have that picture and try to marry it with what is ongoing since the campaign for the ticket, since the Tana crisis in all the major parties, the Labour, the PDP, the APC, up to where we are now. In my vantage position, I have taken a backstage to just watch how everything plays out. I think it's very clear. And I'm so sure it's still going to end up as that one played out itself First on April 14, 2007, and finally March in 2008, and at the appeal court on November 11, 2008. What my fear here is this. There's so much concentration on things that shouldn't decide who we should vote for. I hear the story about one person not being able to speak grammar very well. I hear the story of one man not being able to speak his dialect very well. I hear of one man being a stooge, being a space holder for one party. Those are distractions, if you ask me. Why? The state is in a hurry for us to meet up with other states, especially our neighboring states. A lot is happening, and our state is lagging behind. And we must educate our voters. We must educate our mothers, our fathers, especially the rural people of Edo State, that what we need is development. Not who can speak English well, not who can speak Edo or Isha, FM aware. No, those should not be the considerations as we move towards September 21, 2024.
Thank you. Mr. Jefferson, the political parties have made their choices in terms of who they're going to, who is their flag bearer as far as this election is concerned. And we know that we are moving now, or we have moved literally to where the real determinant who becomes the next governor of Edo State are the electorates. In terms of agenda setting for the political parties to be able to broaden the level of discussion and conversation, what are your thoughts?
Thank you very much. My pleasure being in the studio this morning. And I want to thank my brother for his very lucid and kind introspective statements. Setting agenda for the coming election is a function of multiple stakeholders, including the political parties, civil society, the INEC, even security agencies. And they have different duties and different requirements. Political education is a major part of this assignment within the political party and by INEC. And that includes ensuring that people are aware of their civic responsibility and duty to participate in this election and ensure that the person who can bring the desired change emerges. And then going forward, we talked about partners in this process, and we look at the media. The media have a major role to play in creating a platform for the political parties to equally express themselves and sell themselves to the electorate, and in doing that, ensuring that the voting public have options in choosing who is best, positioned to represent them. So that is the major part. And then on the part of the election organizer, the INEC, they have a very serious integrity issue. How much the public believe in their ability to be neutral and ensuring that the vote count, ensuring that whoever is assigned to go and conduct these elections will ensure that the vote as cast by the voters are what is ultimately published. So these are the issues that should be in the in our mind now. Of course, we have some persons who are also in this process for some pecuniary reasons. You have political parties registered in this country up to 18 or almost 20.
18.
And then of the 18, less than 8 are struggling to involve. So why did they register as a political party? What is happening? Do you have a situation they couldn't have imagined what is happening now and then think about merger? Then these political parties that are yet to feed their candidate, we need to engage them. We need to know who is behind these parties. What are the names? Who are their representatives in Edo State? Do they have offices? Do they have branches in Edo State? And so, if they have branches, if they have representatives in Edo State, we need to find out why they are not participating. Because there are some briefcase political parties. They are designed to come and ambush, winners or losers in election petition matters. And we have seen them. Where some persons feel that this issue cannot be canvassed, haven't missed the chance to do that. Most of these briefcase parties are designed to ambush victors in the election petition tribunal. So we need to understand what these parties represent, and all these things will help us come to a very fair position as to who we ultimately vote for. That's what I see.
Fantastic. Let me come to you. I know that in a political contest of this magnitude, the structures of a political party at whatever level is key. And then, of course, you can't wish away the pedigrees and the impact of the candidate in terms of the quality of the candidate as a major factor in determining how the election will go in terms of public acceptability. Using that as a foundation, I'd like to get your perspectives on what's your take on the public perception out there with the issues that are dominating the political space already. I mean, moving close to September 2021.
When you say compare, is it relative to the candidates or relative to the situation?
Relative to the candidates.
Okay. There's always this misconception when people say politics is about one man, one vote. It does not be a one man, one vote. Politics is about community, especially when you start living Oluku, moving towards my Ovia houses. One man can control, if he's lucky, 200 votes. So that's where the issue of perception comes in. If a man is able to support about 200 persons during INEC voters registration, transport persons who ordinarily do not retain themselves in their area where they will vote, and on the election day is equally buoyant enough to transport those persons. So such person ordinarily will influence the voting pattern in those units and by extension those wards and local government. So the perception theory play a prominent role. We play a prominent role as we move towards September. You've asked me, even though I would have preferred to dodge it for now, because I think it's too early, but I'll just touch it, on the surface. We have three major contestants now, or contesting political parties and their candidates. We have the PDP with Mr. Aswe Ighodalo. We have Senator Monde Okpebolo. We have Mr. Olumide Osagbovo Akpata of the Labour Party. If you ask me, the three of them comes with varied appeal. What Akpata has, certainly, in my own opinion, is different from what Monde Okpebolo is bringing. And what the two of them are bringing is quite different from what Aswe is bringing. Citing Okpebolo, for instance, I see Okpebolo in the frame of Comrade Adams Aliyu Oshomole, who we introduced in 2006, 2007, for one reason, to say, let us break politics down to be as simple as ABC. Because before then, we had a governor who was community-driven, Abu done well as council chairman. And everybody that were asking for it, post that administration, we were skeptical of them because we didn't want a complicated, leadership.
Okay.
So we brought him. So I see Modu Okpebholo
In that mode.
in that mode, despite what they've thrown at him. He can speak English, he can do this. And I asked myself, a community that will make English language to be compulsory and agriculture optional. Members of that community will speak good English and go to bed hungry. Now, again, following that, leadership, political leadership, sir, is about welfareism. Not about profiteering, not about balance and loss account. You don't need a banker, you don't need a lawyer, you don't need to be a PhD holder like you, sir. And congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
All you need to know is a man that is closer to the people, that knows the pain, that knows that there is no school in my village that Arazuwa Primary School for the past 8 years I have been begging to be renovated, is not be done. That's what you need. That's why you have the State Executive Council. I have served twice as a member of the State Executive Council.
You couldn't facilitate the school. You couldn't facilitate the school in your community.
When he was renovated,
okay.
a red roof revolution extended there.
Okay.
That block is there. But the main block, that Chief Lucky Maswell gave us desk and chairs in 1998.
Okay.
Those desks and chairs are still the ones still being used in that bigger block. But I'm not here to discuss my local politics. But I'm just saying, first and foremost, as a governor, you don't need to be a political scientist or a bank. You have 21, 22 experts in various ministries that will advise you. So I will want to advise my persons if I have the opportunity to say, you know what? Look at these 8 persons. If we are lucky to still have the other 5 to join them, to say, look at them well. As I was saying, by the way, he has picked the ticket of Abga, and all things being equal, he will be on the ballot. To say, look at these people. Who are the persons that will find his way to your community without being assisted? Who is that person that will be compassionate? Because politics, my brother, like I said, is welfareism. Oshomole came here, he demonstrated it.
Okay.
And so now, if we bring in persons that are complicated, they will bring on board complicated models. And we don't look at what is happening in Abia. Quietly overnight, no noise, nothing. The building blocks are all just put.
But you have the pedigree of the Abia State government. You have the pedigree of the Abia State government.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
So what I'm saying is
he
that
came from the banking sector where he made tremendous impact and is continuing. Yes, he's leveraging on those experiences, those knowledge to drive development.
Yeah, but I don't think is, in my own opinion again, I don't think is what he experienced while he was in office. It's basically the fact that he has never cut himself away from Abia.
Okay.
OT and I will be friends. We have been neighbors since in the 80s and whatever. He was writing for Midwest Herald, Midwest Times for a long time. He has never detached himself. In fact, he calls himself a village boy. His attitude to life. So simplicity for me, we make it this time. Not a complicated PowerPoint. Leader that will confuse persons. That's why I say it.
Yes. Jefferson, you're also very familiar with this terrain, and I know that every now and then the issue about the quality of those who seek political office is always there, in terms of the content, in terms of the character, in terms of the capacity to bring innovations to bear, because we live in an age where knowledge is key. Today we're talking about AI, artificial intelligence, and several other things that are at the front burner. What's your take in terms of quality of what we have there and the public perception?
Thank you very much, Mr. Sonny. I'm a little bit reluctant to make specific, judgment of these persons.
Okay.
But
generally speaking,
even though my brother had made a categorical, assessment, and which is very, very, okay. I have not met any of these candidates apart from one two persons in Akpata. I don't know them. I've never met them. I've been in this town. I've been playing politics here since SDP. I don't know who is Monday Pueblo. I've never met him. He doesn't know me. From what I read there on social media, I cannot judge him on the basis of that. I don't know Aswe Godalo. He has never met me. I don't know him. He's supposed to be a member of my party. How can I judge somebody who I don't know who know? Then my colleague, the former president of the National Association, probably met him 1 or 2 times. I don't know him. So, you do not judge a person without really having something about them, engage them, understand them. And the fact that I say I don't even know these persons is also an indication of how poor their campaign has been. They just step in and say, we want to be your governor, and then everybody tell you, queue behind this person. I won't queue behind any person. I don't know you. I won't support you until I understand what you represent. Okay. So, but I shouldn't use my situation to judge the general norm. The fact that the man doesn't know you doesn't mean he doesn't know another person. He may have been very busy somewhere else. So, I don't like the idea of, saying this person is good because he's in your party and this person is bad. No. We're in a very serious problem right now in this country.
So you're saying until you have a personal knowledge.
Not necessarily personal. Before you can, it doesn't have to be personal. I don't need to meet these persons. Okay. They can't meet you.
Until they start speaking.
What is that level of knowledge?
They've not really come out now to say this is our program and this is what we represent. Okay. When they come out now, when INEC portal is filled up and then they have published the names of all the aspirants, then we cannot say, on the basis of what this person has promised to do, this is the best person. On the basis of what this person has projected about himself, I think he's in a better position to help us and move on to the next level. Okay. And that helps. You understand? So as we talk now, we don't even know who is in the race yet. Okay. We have 18 political parties, and we have a deadline for them to, upload this
24th
candidate. And as we speak today, less than 7 or 8 has done that, and we don't even have their details. We don't have their details. Okay. You need to have a background check. We need to understand the structural characteristics of these persons and what drives them. Somebody I just Buccaneer, like you said, who just want to be in the office because it's my turn or it's the turn of my people to become governor. We do not need that now. Okay. We need somebody that have a deeper feeling, a program, and the discipline to say, look, I want to put my name in history and then forgo what I'm supposed to gain. I'm not here to make money. Because you don't judge a person by the height sometimes they attain. You judge it from the depth they are coming from. You judge these persons from their desire to serve. So we cannot judge these persons now on the basis of what they are saying. Let us have something more details, something more specific. On the basis of that, we can come up. It doesn't have to be personal. No. As I talk to you now, nobody has published the CV of Aswe Godalo. Nobody has published the CV of Mr. Monday. I would like to know what he has done. What has been his background in business, in politics, and in welfare, in fact, community life. We need to understand this person. Because the reason is this. We are playing with fire. The person you give power to as a governor.
We are playing with fire.
Yes, because he has the power to sign life and death. If a man commits a serious offense now and is taken to court upon full trial and conviction, this is a man that can say, leave him. The day he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed, he will bring Bible and sign, go and kill that man. So before you give power to somebody, know the person very well.
Fantastic.
Know the person.
Okay. I'm sure you want to add something to that, but maybe you could just add this to it. If now, I'm sure that Vice Jefferson Warian, just like you, may have spoken the minds of a lot of people out there. It brings me to the issue of, to what extent would we say the political parties have done well in terms of those they've thrown up for this election, if there's still so much to be unveiled about those who are there in the public space as candidates? What's your take on this?
Tough one. You are putting my neck in the guillotine, but I think my friend and brother Rory, hits the nail on his head by the virtual presentation. Just quick summary of what our people should expect from those. When I say those now, the governor and the deputy governor that should lead them in this very critical period, like you said, that we are. What I want to add there is that this period we are, is very critical. Why? There is a seemingly subtle understanding of regional development going on in the country. Governors that are smart enough, they are talking less or complaining less about the federal government. If you have noticed it. Only the ones that are looking for an escape route to give as reason for their failure are the ones still complaining about federal road, about federal government didn't do this, about many of the governors have just gone quiet, especially the northern governors and the southwest governors. They are critically doing what I call political backward integration. They are developing their communities. They are empowering their local government. They are going back to the farms. The other day we saw Governor Bago of Niger State commissioning 1,000 tractors to revolutionize farming in the states. We are seeing where state governors are attracting power production in their rural areas and making it available to the people that need them, not to the elites, as you have in some states. We are seeing where some state governors are taking education head on, not the one that you build 3 classrooms, you use the money for 4 classrooms to go and cut the red tape quietly. And that's where I agree with him, that we may be in a hurry now from what we have been following on the internet, trying to confuse the electorate on who they should support. We should wait, we should tarry a while, we should let these people come out. Let us not spoon feed them. That is on that. Then on the issue of the primaries, without sounding immoderate, the primaries across the major political parties that just took place portends danger for eternal democracy in Nigeria. If we have to use what happened in all the major parties, then there is fear that those are actually interested in political leadership, those people that actually want to serve, may have to think twice. If post 2024 years plus this 2028, they may think twice before they will venture into it. Because what we saw was a monetized, process where if you don't have it, you don't even have to think about it. So ab initio, the political parties failed the system, failed the electorate. I've not said the people that the system threw up are not good, but I think we are on our own destroying the electoral process on our own. Because where we are coming from, if it was this kind of setup we had, we would never have been in government in 2008. We would never. I can still remember where I donated the laptop from Midwest Herald office next door to Benin Club before the building was sold to the campaign office, including my Honda G generator. People were donating for us to bring Adams Oshomole to power. What happened to that period? Ambrose Ali was brought in, not even knowing what and where the money came from. Those are the systems that will throw up serious committee leaders or that become governors and senators. If we don't try to go back there, we the media men and women, we keep on encouraging the deep pockets to take over the political space. It will be a huge calamity to the political space and to the legendary and biblical and philosophical dividends of democracy. Because the manna that dropped from the sky in the Bible times, if you ask me, they were dividends of democracy. If we don't take our place as the leaders in this society, the media men, for us to preach against it, the future is very dark for us in the state.
If you just join us, you're on to Politics Today on independent television and radio. Our special focus today on the program is agenda setting for Edo 2024, with particular focus on the pedigrees and impacts of candidates. Of course, that's very key in determining and shaping the outcome of the elections. The political parties, as always the case, they made their choices, but the major choice that will be made will be on the 21st of September 2024, when all the candidates that have been thrown out or thrown out by the respective political parties will face the people. Already, as is always the case, the campaigns are on, where engagement are ongoing. But just like Mr. Jefferson Warren said a while ago, the political parties need to do more so that they can engage the electorates more, unveil more about their candidates so we can know them deep down and then get informed position in making our choices. We will take a short break. When we return, we will continue our conversation on Edo 2024 agenda setting. Now the candidates are out. What next for the candidate themselves and for the political parties and for the electorates? For me, the political parties, they still need to do more beyond what they have done, against the background that for the three major political parties, there are a lot of internal wranglings before the primaries, during the primaries, and even after the primaries. How are they able to resolve all of these issues amicably, to have a common front, to forge a common front for the election proper when the time will tell? Let's just look a bit more on the political parties, as it were. We saw a lot of internal wranglings amongst the political parties, pre-primaries, during, and even post-primaries. What's our assessment of the resolutions of these primaries, and to what extent do we think that they can really help the parties to be in a good stead in the build-up to the election proper? Let me begin with you, Vice Jefferson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sonny. Political disagreement is usually one of the hallmarks of party formation and party management. But the key defining issue is how political parties manage internal dissent, how political parties manage disagreement. If they manage it very well, they come in as one and they go and conduct and participate in election and win. But when they fail to manage it well, you find out that the party will be running at different levels and a different space. And so it's not new. Even in America, before you have Donald Trump, you had other persons running, and they throw all sorts of mud at each other. They throw all sorts of allegations. They accuse them of this. They accuse each other of that. At the end of the day, they collapse and say, "This is our candidate in the general primary," and then party supreme, they all fall in and work together. In many situations here, the reconciliation processes are poor. The man who wins is, because the language and vile they have exchanged throughout the campaign period, they are unable to come back to say, "Please come and work with me." So it's always very important that when you are campaigning during the pre-primary process, you have to be very careful of what you throw at your opponent, because you might need that opponent to come and campaign with you. He won't find the strength to stand on the same podium and say, this is my man, vote for him. After all you have said about him, and some of these things are not heady, some of them are not true, and does not represent the character that you are now projecting. Because if you can openly, destroy your party member just because you want power, only God knows what you're going to do to the whole state and to persons you don't even know. So our, reconciliation process within the parties is a major determinant of victory. In some parties, when you have election coming, they begin to give party members some form of level of identification. They give them jobs, they patronize them, they give them appointments, they even constitute boards. They begin to look at party members that have been very loyal and resourceful. They begin to identify them and say, look, these leaders have been there for us these years. Please, we acknowledge that by giving you this position. And then the person is encouraged to do more. Then you also find out that those persons who participated in the primaries and lost, the party can even decide, okay, let us return the money you paid. Let's refund part of the money you paid. Because we know that you have expended a lot of money in campaign, and then we cannot ask you now to start supporting this man with empty stomach. Okay. Haven't, been robbed of your victory in quote. And then the person says, oh, that is very unusual. I will support your party. Then you also have the bigger party. They go as far as getting further appointment for even their opponents.
Just to woo them?
Yes, to woo them. The people start leaving their party and say, look, I think there's light here. They say, look, we have not even moved to our side. We're already offering you this. So many things are involved. How the party manage disagreement, how the party manage failure, of their members is a function of how prepared they are for the election. Some of these persons don't care. They believe that it's all winners take all team. No, it won't work that way. Because on election day, you will not be where I will be. You will be standing by your polling unit, and then I'll be by my polling unit. And then more importantly, we need to be very, very careful too. Less than 7 to 8% of the voting publics are politicians. The remaining 92% are not politicians. And then most of these parties are concentrating on those 8% to the detriment of the 92 that will determine their fate in the general election. So you must identify who are the stakeholders, who are these key persons that we need to engage, instead of spending so much time talking to the 8% that will not determine. Even the 8% decide to sit down and vote for you, you have lost 92%. So we need to recalibrate. We need to sit down and ask ourselves, are we going for a general election or we are going for intra-party election? So if it's a general election, the language of intra-party election is different from the language of a general election. So these are the things I think we should be encouraging our party to be looking at. Okay. Because some of them are too carried away, they are so excited with the fact that their names are going to be on the ballot, and they're already getting persons who are telling them stories they want to hear. Oh, they even call them, some of them, Your Excellency. They call some incoming. They begin to they will give note. Some of them even apportion offices that you are going to be my SSG, you are going to be my commissioner. You are not even there
chief
yet.
Of staff.
They even tell you who will be the chief of staff. They begin to, do all sort of, foreign things to one another. Okay. So, but I think the key thing is realizing that you're not there yet, and realizing that you need the next person, and you need to be humbled by power, because power is not something we play with. It can flip from your hand in a matter of 1 minute, all because of attitude.
All right. Let me get your take on this.
Because I'm smiling. I'm smiling.
Yeah, why are you smiling?
You know why I'm smiling? Yeah. Nostradamus used to be a man that saw tomorrow, but this man is reminding me of yesterday. You know why I was laughing? Politicians don't learn. We have a way of getting overtly excited over nothing. The National Assembly that just took place here, it's just like if take your page backward. It's enough lesson to accentuate what is just said. That election is enough for any person aspiring now as governor to sit down and play the tape back and look at what happened during that period. It was a leveler. Several of these persons, the 8% is talking about, go and check the compendium of results. They lost their unit. The ones that managed to win, they were on their knees, begging. Walaho, even if it's 2 votes. I was in the field. Not that I was here. I was in the mist. My body was hot. I was on my feet till about 1 a.m. in Okada to ensure that the results were begging up to the point before they announced that result. Like what he said, the 92% were waiting for us in the villages. And it's down here. We all knew what happened here. It was violent trade state here. People were shot at, some units were cancelled. What I have seen is the same error they made last time. The confusion that trailed these primaries equally happened then. The anger that is trailing these primaries now trailed those elections. And the result was the very horrible results that were posted by those that were already celebrating because of power was then concentrated in one place, as it is now. I want to ask, is there a bug in power that makes our leaders not to remember where they are coming from? Or that makes them not to look at the danger in front? Because if not, that's the outcome of that election is enough for them, like what he's saying. The fact that you have a ticket to be a governor, to be a deputy governor, nothing for you to celebrate yet. Because what you think is the definite result of what you have been told in your cocoon, because one leader has said, I am in control, and you don't bother to check INEC results, within a season, not just one election alone. Look at 1, 2, 3 results. Last election, several commissioners, including the one that I know very, very well, that for us not to start mentioning names here, lost their units, lost their ward. Others that are former senators lost their unit, lost their ward. And the same characters are the persons now that like the cheerleaders. You have won, like I said, you go on the internet, the social media ants or soldiers that they call them, you read their language, you just laugh and say, there's this tendency to say, for what this person has said, we will teach them a lesson. They have not learned, we have not learned, let me add myself, we have not learned any lesson for us to come back and plan. Okay. What Barrister Jefferson was advocating is what we used in 2007. Funny enough, it's not too far from here. Persons like Honorable Chelsea Dausa that contested that ticket with Comrade Adams Aliyu Oshomole. We quickly reached out to them. On election day, April 14th, I was exchanging messages with them and whatever. We quickly closed up our ranks. He was in error. Himself and Senator Owie and my young friend, Ebosa Ogbemudia, all of them, we're reaching out to them. Walao. Because every vote in election matters. Even if it's from the man that said you are an idiot, just get the vote first. But I'm not saying that now. There's this definite line to say he wasn't with us before the primaries. So they just put a line. But we are watching. Okay.
All right. If you just join us, it's still Politics Today on independent television and radio. Now, before we open our studio line, I've heard people talk about the Edo Electorate in terms of their ability to analyze the situation and make a decision. I mean, there's a pattern from some of the analysis that I've heard or read or seen that the Edo electorates have a way of analyzing the situation, making their decision, and that decision reflecting in how they cast their vote. I mean, the most topical is the last election. Let me get your assessment of that pattern, Barrister Jefferson Wogie, the Edo electorate, Edo 2024.
Well, it's also a commendable thing to say about the level of education here and the high cognitive value we place on education. And so to that extent, we know what sometimes what is good for us. But having said that, it's not in all cases that we have this convergence of decision that the Edo person in Benin here and the Edo person in Edo North will be drawing the same rope. It doesn't always follow.
Okay.
They need a lot of information to make informed decision.
Sure.
They need a lot of explanation. As we talk now, over 80% of Edo people are yet to make up their mind who they are going to vote for. Forget what they are telling you. They are just watching. They know those who they are.
Is this based on the research or just a perception?
This is not just
historical.
I have evidence-based reason to tell you that. Unfortunately, I don't have all the time to give you specifics, but I can tell you that a lot of Edo people are yet to make up their mind on who they are going to vote for. But they are watching. All they need to do is assess. And election. When is the election? It's
September 21st.
You are talking about
7 months.
How many months?
7 months.
So they are not going to jump into the bandwagon now. They are going to sit down and hear. They listen. As we are talking here, they are listening. They are calling their friends, come and listen to what these people are saying. They want information so that they can make the right decision. And that is one unique thing about us. So all this issue of, oh, he's not, like he said, he's not very good fluent in English and he's not very fluent in his Latin language, or he has not been living here, my appeal into insignificance if and when the Benin people decide to vote. And they do decide to vote. So there are a lot coming up. There are a lot being cooked as we speak. And so I think it is also a level of our own attitude towards politics. We are not, people that have not experienced what we are experiencing now. But when push comes to shove, the other people will decide on who will lead for them.
All right, our studio line will be opened now, so you can call and be part of the discussion. Let's do your perspectives on Edo 2024 in terms of agenda setting for the electorates, the political parties, INEC, the candidates themselves, security agencies, based on what we've seen so far, arising from the outcomes of the primaries that has thrown up 18 political parties, even though as of today, according to INEC, about 8 of the political parties are yet to upload the names of their candidates into the INEC nomination portal for them to confirm that they have a candidate for the election, as it were. So dial the studio number right now, right away, and let's get your take, your views, and your perspectives on our conversation so far. But while we're waiting on that, let me just get you to speak to the issue of the political savviness of Edo electorate in terms of making their choices. Yeah.
When he spoke, I want to chip this one. Even right now, 6-7 months to the election, cost comes in from different stakeholders. But where they can hear voting and who are we voting for and all that. And like what he said, my explanation to them most times, my advice to them most times is that I say, hold on, it is not time. Let's still watch them. Let's see how they come and let them say themselves. Let them tell us what and what they want to do.
Okay.
Personally, there are various persons have their expectations from their political leaders. We are political leaders. Some of us are, because without politics, we always provide for them. So in and out of politics, we are always there to faithfully guide them on what is good for the community, on what is good for the individual. So they rely on what we tell them. So my advice now, it's too early, 6 months, 7 months before election, let's watch them. Everything, the dynamics may just change 2 weeks before election. It will just change.
Okay.
Like the last election that happened again, many persons are in the House of Rep today, are in Senate today, because after they finished voting for Obi, they were asking, the Senate and House of Rep, they were asking. And that was how some persons from, I'm not here to promote any party. Okay. That's how some persons from a particular party became the senator and the House of Rep, not because they campaigned, because people were on ground to say, what drop Betina? And we are moving closer to that.
Okay. Our studio line is 080-7777-0300. That's our studio number. If you can dial that number right now, right away, you will be part of Politics Today on independent television and radio. Our studio line is 080-7777-0300. Dial the number right now, right away, and be part of the conversation. Please ensure that you turn down the audio level on your television or radio just to remove the echo so we can have a very meaningful conversation. And then, of course, we always encourage that you're as brief as possible so that others waiting can take their turns on the program. And also don't forget to not cast aspersion on our panelists here. If you have the opportunity to be on set here, you will express your views, your opinion on the issue. Well, those are never the views or opinion of the station. Still Politics Today, a major focus on the discussion segment is DO 2024 agenda setting, review of the pedigrees and impacts of the candidates and how all of these will shape their DO 2024 governorship election. With the candidates' emergence, it gives the electorate the opportunity to make their choices. But between now and 21st of September, a lot of work needs to be done on the part of the candidates, on the part of the political parties, to help the electorate make sense. Now, I want to ask my panelists here, Robo Samuel Joe and Jefferson Wagiye Esquire, why is it always like we, in civilized climes, I mean, looking at the American presidential system of government, there seems to be more latitude for campaigns and all of that. But back here, it's a bit of some sort of limitation on the period campaigns can start and when it can end. And then the parties have finished their primaries. What does it look like is such a far distance away till September 21? We're probably pushing towards that before the campaigns will go on full swing. Aren't the political parties supposed to start massively engaging the electorate with their campaigns as we speak now, by Jefferson?
Thank you very much. I always advocated this point every time I have the chance to speak on air like this. Now, we are what you get, or we are what we get. I mean, in America, they have laws regulating, participation and conduct of election. Under the law, they have a law of democracy. We don't have a law of democracy in Nigeria. What we have is Electoral Act, okay, which is the law regulating the conduct of the election by the election empire, the INEC, and how the political parties will participate in the election. Okay. But in America, there are specific laws that regulate, the citizen participation in the process of campaign. They tell you how much you are supposed to raise. You have to publish how much you have raised. You have to publish who have donated money to you. And then at the end of the election, you must come and give account of how much you raise and how you spend that money. And then there's also a limit to which agency, to how much agencies that are into private business or lobbyists can even participate in your campaign and your fundraising. But here, we don't have record of who is sponsoring these parties. So it's a very murky business. In America, you can't have slush fund by one government agency that is putting money aside to conduct the election. You will go to prison.
Straight up.
But here in Nigeria, you have companies that are government owned, that are raising money for purpose of capturing power. So all this determine the outcome of our election here. And because there are no punishment for this kind of criminal infractions, like the Bible says, because sentences against evil are not speedily executed, the heart of man is set to do evil. Because we don't have punishment for these infractions in our electoral laws, people are out there doing what they think is appropriate in the circumstance.
Okay. Give me your final take on that conversation so far.
I think the law on the period you ought to campaign, I think is adverse to parties that are not in power. Because parties that are in power are involved in what the Americans refer to as permanent campaigns. You go and cut tape to commission one borehole. You say, vote for us. Our candidate is this. If you vote for us, you have more water. The party in power, permanently from the day they take power until the day they hand over, they are permanently campaigning. Okay. If we want to amend the law, like you suggested, leave it open. Okay. Trump started campaigning the very day he lost the last election. Yeah. And it's a whole year. He's moving from one zone to one state to this, and and they are moving closer to their election. And so I just believe that the law should be amended to incorporate the parties that are not in power.
All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Mr. Jefferson Wogin, thank you for your time. Honorable Samuel, it's always a delight to have you here as well.
Thank you.
Well, that's our package today on the program Politics Today on independent television and radio. Well, maybe about 7 months before September 21, when Edo people will decide. Already in the public space, especially on social media, the issue of, he can't speak English, he probably didn't go to school properly. The issue of he's not a homeboy, he's an imported person. The issue of, he doesn't know squabs about politics. He may have been a leader at the association level. All of these issues are there in the public space. But we want more broad-based issues that borders on governance, on impacts in terms of changing the status quo, giving more value to the votes that will be brought forth by the people, making life more meaningful. I mean, the last couple of years has been quite challenging. In Nigeria today, we know the state of the economy. The inflation rate is just going up every day, except in recent time we've seen a bit of stability with the Naira. But how long will that last? So we need people that can think outside the box. And so those are the things we should be looking at from those who have been thrown up as candidates from all the political parties. Please vote wisely, because whatever choice you make now will determine how the state will be in the next dispensation. That's my take out on today's edition of the program Politics Today. We'll be back with you next week, Saturday, with a fresh edition of the program. Till then, stay blessed and do have a great weekend. Bye for now.